thought the director of such movies as Big Fat Liar, Cheaper by the Dozen, and A Night at the Museum movies would ever direct a hard R Deadpool and Wolverine movie, but I'm glad he did. Hey movie buffs, I'm Jackman, and welcome to my review of Deadpool and Wolverine. It's finally here, let's go. Deadpool and Wolverine is now the third Deadpool film, as well as a continuation after Logan, and is now the 34th film in the Marvel Cinematic Universe. This is Deadpool's first big appearance in the MCU. Now, just want to say this review will be 100% spoiler-free. There will be absolutely no spoilers in this review. To let you know, I only watched the first two trailers of this movie, the teaser trailer and the next trailer after that. After those trailers, I didn't want to watch any more trailers, just avoided them as the best I could. Just want to wait till I see the movie. Now that I've seen the movie, my review is here. Let's do this. Deadpool and Wolverine is directed by Sean Levy, and this film stars Ryan Reynolds as always playing Deadpool and Hugh Jackman back as Wolverine since Logan. In Deadpool and Wolverine, we follow Wade Wilson, as always played by Ryan Reynolds, and he is taken by the TVA from Loki, and he's on a mission to save his universe from an upcoming threat. He later teams up with a familiar face, a reluctant Wolverine, as always played by Hugh Jackman. And before I get into my review, any new viewers coming across my channel for the first time, welcome to my channel. I am Jack Benner. I talk about movies on here. I do movie reviews. From time to time, I do some lists on here. So you like movie content? You like what you see so far? Definitely considering that like and subscribe button for more exciting movie content down the road. Since Deadpool and Wolverine is a continuation from the first two Deadpool movies and Logan, do want to give my thoughts on those films. I absolutely love the first Deadpool. Back in 2016, it was such a unique and game-changing comic book movie to how it was presented with its meta humor and fourth wall-breaking humor, making fun of other superhero movies at the time, as well as Ryan Reynolds' career. And I am so happy that Ryan Reynolds finally got to make the Deadpool movie he has been wanting to make for so long after he was done dirty in X-Men Origins Wolverine. And this movie makes so many jabs at that version of Deadpool and Green Lantern. And this was a film Ryan Reynolds definitely needed after critically panned movies and box office bombs like Green Lantern or R.I.P.D. This film succeeds as a hilarious comedy, a great action revenge film, and a sweet romantic comedy. And it even came out on Valentine's Day weekend. It was a box office success, grossing $700 million worldwide, one of the highest grossing R-rated movies of all time. It was a critically acclaimed movie, got nominated for 2 Golden Globes, and I think it's one of the best R-rated comic book movies ever made. It was my second favorite comic book film of 2016 behind Captain America Civil War, and one of my top 10 favorite films of 2016. 2 years later, we got a sequel with Deadpool 2. While I do think the first film was much stronger and a lightning in a bottle movie, this was still an entertaining and hilarious sequel. It is not only a very funny movie, but also works as an emotional sequel that explores the tragic side of Deadpool's character. Josh Brolin as Cable was a great and badass dynamic character. I also love Zazie Beetz as Domino. She was awesome. And David Leitch did a pretty good job directing the action scenes in this movie. He has proven to be a capable action director. And also, the funniest mid-credit scene ever. Just Deadpool going back in time to kill the X-Men Origins Wolverine Deadpool. Brilliant. In between the Deadpool movies, we would get one final Wolverine film with Hugh Jackman, with Logan. What we thought at the time would be Hugh Jackman's swan song to the character of Wolverine. And it's as perfect a swan song as he can get, and in my opinion, a perfect comic book movie. It was dark, gritty, tragic, and impactful. James Mangold did a terrific job handling both the action scenes as well as the tone of the film. It did kind of remind me of the Western vibe of Hell or High Water, mixed in with some influence from Children of Men. I love that it went for the R rating, not just with the gore, but also with the dark tone of the film. Hugh Jackman and Patrick Stewart are stellar in this movie. Both of them give their career best performances as these characters, and it was just so heartbreaking to see them on the edge of death. And honestly, both of them should have gotten Oscar nominations. I don't care what anyone says. Daphne Keane was also phenomenal as Laura or X-23. She was such a badass. And the ending of the film, what an emotional punch to the gut that was. Just, oh, and the last line too. The waterworks almost came. Just one of the saddest movie endings ever. And the final shot of the film, perfect. Hands down, the best Wolverine movie, definitely better than the disappointing X-Men Origins Wolverine, although I thought The Wolverine was a solid movie, save for the last act of the movie, which not a fan of that. and it's one of the best superhero movies of the 2010s decade, easily the best X-Men movie, and one of my top 5 favorite films of 2017. Just when we thought Logan would be the very last time we would see Hugh Jackman play the role of Wolverine, until 2022 when Ryan Reynolds announced something major for Deadpool 3, Hugh Jackman would be coming back as Wolverine in Deadpool 3.
Oh my God!
After the little Wolverine jokes in the first 2 Deadpool movies, I guess it would be inevitable that Ryan Reynolds would find a way to bring Hugh Jackman back as Wolverine, and I just knew there was something that made Hugh Jackman excited to return to the role. I was enthusiastic about that because when I think of pitch perfect comic book movie castings, 2 that come to mind: Hugh Jackman as Wolverine and Robert Downey Jr. as Iron Man. Even if I was a little skeptical, especially after the ending of Logan when Wolverine died, how is he back? We'll just have to wait and see. And I was also excited that this is Deadpool's first big appearance in the MCU after the Disney-Fox merger, and first R-rated MCU movie. Let's go. And just the thought of a buddy action comedy with Wolverine and Deadpool, oh, I'm so in. Given the current state of the MCU phases 4 and 5, I wonder if this could breathe new life into the MCU and put it on the right direction again. And I'm not one of those who hates the current MCU post-Endgame. However, I do feel a bit underwhelmed with the multiverse saga. I felt like it was very all over the place and kind of disorganized. Although there are some projects from MCU Phase 4 and 5 I do love. For the films, I thought Shang-Chi was awesome, I thought No Way Home was fantastic, and I loved Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3. And with the TV shows, I loved Loki Season 1 and 2. Moon Knight I think is awesome and the most underrated MCU show in my opinion, and I really liked WandaVision, although not everything in the final episode worked for me, still really good. It's been hit and miss for a few years with just a few films that either got mixed reviews from critics or underperformed at the box office, such as Eternals. I thought that movie was a letdown, Ant-Man Quantumania, and The Marvels was a huge box office bomb last year. Even if I had a few concerns, I was optimistic to see what Deadpool and Wolverine would bring to the table for the MCU, and could it set up something exciting for the future of the MCU? This was my most anticipated movie of the summer. I was super excited. Went in to see this movie opening night, so excited to see how it would be, and I'm very happy to confirm I thought Deadpool and Wolverine is an absolute blast and a pure treat for all comic book movie fans. Is the movie flawless? No, I do have some issues to which I'll get to later, but I loved it. Let's start with the pros. Right from the jump, let's start with what everyone has been excited to see this movie for, is the dynamic duo and the electric chemistry between Ryan Reynolds and Hugh Jackman. As if it wasn't apparent enough that these two were born to play these roles, this film will confirm that tenfold. Their pitch-perfect chemistry, friction, and back-and-forth banter is absolutely relentless, invigorating, and off the frickin' charts. Not just their arousing comedic chemistry, but the emotion they give to these characters is especially noteworthy. Ryan Reynolds remains his usual, hilarious, insanely charismatic, witty, snarky, and sarcastic self as Deadpool. His amazing comedic timing and improv skills is still intact, but what I have always appreciated about Ryan Reynolds as Deadpool, not just his sense of humor or him being a total badass, was how much heart he gives to Deadpool in the emotional scenes too. Focusing on Wade Wilson feeling unfulfilled at this point in his life in the midlife crisis. And it's still great to see Ryan Reynolds can set aside his hilarity and charisma and make heartfelt and emotional moments work too. And no one else can play Deadpool at this point. Ryan Reynolds, he was born to play Deadpool. He is the perfect choice. Now, it's been 7 years since Hugh Jackman has retired the role of Wolverine since Logan, and in Deadpool and Wolverine, this is one of his best performances since Logan. And finally, we get to see a comic book accurate yellow spandex. It's been 20 plus years. And he definitely did not phone it in at all, nor did it feel like he was just doing it for a paycheck, and I can definitely see why Jackman wanted to return to Wolverine so badly. In this movie, he gave it his absolute all. Jackman has always nailed everything about the character from his charm, humor, and ultimate badassery, but successfully achieves the tragedy, reluctance, and depression being viewed as a disappointment. And there are two particular monologues from Hugh Jackman in this film. Terrific acting. It still goes to show that Hugh Jackman was not only the perfect choice to play Wolverine, but he still stands as a phenomenal actor. And luckily, what I was kind of worried about, his return did make sense for the story and was justified. And I'm just happy that in the MCU, we first got to see Tobey Maguire and Andrew Garfield return as their versions of Spider-Man in No Way Home, and now Hugh Jackman back as Wolverine. But not only was it entertaining and exciting to see them return, but also made sense for the story and progressed things along, and their significance to it made it even more exciting. Something I admire about the Deadpool movies was the rotation of different directors, from Tim Miller, David Leitch, to now Shawn Levy, to see their different visions and approach to directing action scenes. And I was curious to see how Shawn Levy would handle directing this type of film. Given his history with these two actors, he has worked with Ryan Reynolds before in the 2021 film Free Guy, fun movie, and he has worked with Hugh Jackman before in the 2011 film Real Steel, fun and underrated boxing movie, by the way, and I was very impressed with his direction. He did a great job here. Greatly crafting gory, brutal, visceral, and exhilarating action sequences, and there are many action scenes in this movie that are worth the price of admission. Just go see them for yourself. They're very exciting. And there was even one standoff scene between Deadpool and Wolverine, and before their fight, it did give me vibes of the good, the bad, and the ugly. Next, this movie is consistently hilarious. And I'd say it is one of the funniest MCU movies since Guardians of the Galaxy. I am so happy at this point an MCU film like this exists, that's self-aware, makes fun of itself, poking fun at the Disney-Fox merger and multiverses. While Kevin Feige is being a good sport about it, that makes me respect him even more. That, along with either the chemistry of Hugh Jackman and Ryan Reynolds' fourth wall-breaking joke and the meta humor that still keeps it fresh. And the opening scene alone had me laughing hysterically. Just brilliant use of dark humor there, my god. Just watch the scene for yourself. Just the dark humor, context, and the song choice. Just from that moment, I knew I was in for a blast. While the film is hilarious and entertaining throughout, it doesn't forget to have that strong emotional core intact, having themes about purpose or redemption. And those themes elevate this film excellently. And it goes to show how much extra care Hugh Jackman and Ryan Reynolds really have for these characters and wanting to satisfy the fans. And lastly, let's talk about the cameos of the film without spoiling anything. And just to reiterate, I've only seen the first two trailers of the film. And just from hearing the rumors, there are going to be so many cameos in this movie and surprises. And I do really like how they were handled here, much better than Multiverse of Madness. I wasn't a huge fan of the cameos in that movie, but here it kind of did feel more like fan service and actually fit in organically and for progressing the story. And there was even some of them that did serve a purpose in the film, including one scene at a campfire that is one of my favorite and emotional scenes of the film. And it also does an excellent job at paying tribute to the Fox Marvel era of films, while poking fun of itself, but also doing a loving tribute equally. Sadly, I do have some flaws with this movie. I will get to those right now. First, I do feel like the villain Cassandra Nova could have been improved. I really liked what Emma Cord was doing with the role, with her charm, powers, and manipulation. And it's not really so much her performance, but it was more how the character was written. I do feel like her backstory was a bit underdeveloped and we could have fleshed her out more, just as an opportunity for a more compelling villain. It's kind of a similar issue I had with Francis in the first film. He could have been a more compelling villain. And second, while the effects are pretty good in this movie, and thankfully better than some of the other Phase 4 and 5 CGI which felt hit and miss, even if this film had a few spotty looking CGI at times that needed improvement. And lastly, not all the jokes land. There were maybe a few emotional moments that didn't need jokes at times. Cause this is such a laugh-a-minute movie that throws so many jokes at you, at times they don't always stick the landing. To sum up, while I did feel like the villain needed improvement, Deadpool and Wolverine fully delivers as a hilarious, emotional, exciting, and entertaining blast, and it's an absolute treat for all comic book movie fans. Hugh Jackman and Reynolds both knock it out of the park with their pitch-perfect chemistry, hilarious comedy, thrilling action, and strong emotional core. I'm really excited to hear what you think of this movie. Either you loved it like I did, enjoyed it, but didn't love it, or you were disappointed by it, or you're curious if you're excited about this movie and what you think of the first two Deadpool movies, and how did Deadpool and Wolverine compare to the others in your opinion? And this just in, it grossed $205 million on its opening weekend. First R-rated movie to gross more than $200 million at the box office on its opening weekend. Wow. I definitely expected it to make a killing at the box office, and hearing those results, I'm happy about it. Definitely on its way to gross $1 billion worldwide, and could surpass Joker as the highest grossing R-rated movie of all time. We shall see. And Joker Folie Do, I am very excited for that movie, so that movie has competition this October. And it just topped Inside Out 2 for the highest opening weekend of 2024. And Inside Out 2 just recently made $1 billion. This one's probably going to make another $1 billion. So Disney is dominating the box office this summer. And given its No Way Home level of anticipation and the positive reviews, I am very happy, and I think it's deserving of its box office success. And this is now the second comic book film of the year and was much better than the abysmal Madam Web. God, that film was such a disaster. But thankfully, this is the comic book film I needed this year, and it was just awesome. And now to grade it, I'm going to give Deadpool and Wolverine 4.5 stars out of 5, an A-. I am very excited to see this movie again next week. Hopefully I'll find the time to, because I was just smiling throughout from start to finish. I was in such glee. And now a few questions. 1, do I think it's the best Deadpool movie? I do prefer the first Deadpool film as a game-changing, lightning-in-a-bottle movie, but I do like it more than Deadpool 2, which I also really like, so this is the second best Deadpool movie. And where would I rank this film in my X-Men ranking? I don't know if it quite reaches my top 5 favorite X-Men films. I would probably put it close as my number 6, between X2, X-Men United at number 5, and number 7, the first X-Men. And another, where would I rank this film in my MCU ranking, 34 films in now? Again, may not quite reach my top 10 favorite MCU movies. I would put it at number 13, right between Shang-Chi at number 12, and Ant-Man in number 14, so that's where Deadpool and Wolverine stays in my MCU ranking for now. And I would love to hear your rankings of either the MCU or the X-Men films with Deadpool and Wolverine in the comments below. Feel free to share. And I would like to hear from you guys. What do you guys think of Deadpool and Wolverine if you've seen it? Do you agree? Disagree with my review? Or if you haven't seen it, are you interested in seeing the film or not? Let me know down below. Did you enjoy hearing my thoughts on this movie and want to see more reviews like this in the future? If yes, please hit that like and subscribe button if you're new here, and don't forget that notification bell for my next upload in the future. It really means a lot. My social media links are in the description down below. You can find me on Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok. And if you want to see my written reviews, I do have a Letterboxd account, so if you'd like to follow me on there as well. And until the next video, I'm Jack Benner, and look forward to another movie review.